What's up, everybody? Coach Mills here, coming at you with a brand new Valorant video. And in this video, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We got a gold player that sent me their gameplay. So we're going to do a classic VOD review where I break down tips, tricks, and things they do wrong. And I'm going to help them improve, and I'm going to help you improve along the way. But if you want to get your VOD reviewed, you got to contact me on the GameLeap Discord channel. So go check it out right now down below. And while you're there, go to the GameLeap website where we have tips, tricks, guides. We got so much content. If you want to improve and rapidly climb, you got to go check out our advanced guides on our website. Go check it out right now down below. Now, this player used to be in gold. However, they said that they dropped down to silver after not playing for a couple of weeks. So now that they're playing again, they're trying to climb, but they're having some trouble. So let's break down their gameplay and see what's up. So the first thing let's actually talk about the map Fracture, because a lot of people really hate this map, and I think it's because they play it fundamentally wrong. So here's the thing. When you're playing on these points, let's look at this B point, let's look at this A point. You're kind of caught in a fishbowl, right? If you're on B and enemies rush you from both sides, which they should put ample pressure on both sides. They're coming from here, they're coming from here at the same time, and you're caught in the middle. You have no idea where the enemy's gonna come from, and you're gonna die. The same thing with A. So how do you play this point? If playing on point is gonna get you caught from both directions, how do you play? Well, there's several different ways you could play. The first way is you can aggressively take space out with your team. So like if you have 2 players, 3 players, him and this Reyna, they could push out here and take this space. If enemies are there, they could potentially get picks on them by using flashes, using abilities, and then they could play for retake after the fact. And if no enemies are there, they can kind of play in this area or hold this area until they either wrap the other way and retake A, or they retake B if the enemy came from the other direction. So that puts you in a situation where once the enemy plant, you get to go and retake, and the enemies are the ones that have people coming from multiple directions. So that is something you could do. You could also play in the middle section, which is a more passive play, and you just let the enemy team go take. You try to catch them off during their rotation to the point. Like if you're playing in this middle zone and they come in, if they don't properly smoke, their smokes drop. You see opportunities to get pot shots, but nothing definitive. You're not trying to stay on point and die on point. You're trying to catch people, and then you're trying to get a little bit of kills or a little bit of damage, a little bit of value, and then you're really trying to retake with your team. And him specifically as VIPER, he can sandbag a lot of these abilities, like his wall, so that he can retake and use it to retake whatever point needs to be retaken later. Let's actually see what he does here. Let's break down some of the things he does, talk about his mistakes, talk about things that he can incorporate in his gameplay to maybe, you know, do pretty well, because he does pretty poorly in this game. So it looks like the enemy is actually hitting the A site here, and I really like how you sandbagged your wall. Now you have the wall for when enemies come onto point. Now, I think that you should probably wait a little bit. The enemies are probably going to commit here, but they could always just rotate off, and you don't want to be in a situation where the enemies are not actually pushing onto site. You already walled, they rotate, and then you don't have it. So keep that in mind. Your team still has control of this entire area, so you don't need to invest yet. Doesn't mean that the enemies aren't going to commit here. A lot of times in low ranks, players don't rotate enough. So I don't think the enemies are going to rotate. Little panicky, little jumpy. He saw the smoke, he turned around. Something that you can do a lot on this point in particular is, as long as you're not peeking by dish, you are fine, because if an enemy drops, you're going to hear it. So you don't need to hold that angle. As long as you're not LOSing an enemy that is holding up there or it's smoked off, you're going to hear that drop, so you can hold a different angle. Oh, your Sage is killing everybody, actually. Your Sage just killed the entire team. What a god.
Ooh, nice.
Okay. So, let's actually jump right into the second round, because this is where the mistakes start flying. Right off the bat. Okay, so you do have a DC. I know that the DC comes back in a second. But one of the biggest questions that I get asked is, what do you buy in this round? You won the first round. What do you buy? And typically, what you're supposed to buy is the weapons that will 100% secure this round and lock it in. So, you know, you see, you know, the Sage thinks about buying a Phantom, ends up not buying a Phantom. And if we fast forward a little bit, it looks like your team is just going with Deagles here. And I understand maybe you're thinking, hey, we're down a player. We aren't going to win this. Let's just buy a light, try to win it, and then we can buy full guns next round. That's okay. And honestly, if I was the enemy team, I would force buy here because you're down a player. That can work. I do think, though, in general, what you should be doing is buying the best weapons you possibly can to 100% slam dunk the enemy. And the reason that you buy weapons, and what I'm talking about is things like Phantoms or Vandals with light armor, or Spectres with full armor. You can buy Marshals depending on the point. I wouldn't really buy it on Fracture typically, but it's good to have really powerful weapons to go up against the enemy's bad weapons, because having a Sheriff, having a weapon like this is not only going to be pretty bad if the enemies are trying to run and gun at you with classics, because it's a very precision-based weapon. You want people to be taking their engagements very specifically with you, but you're not going to be able to kill multiple enemies very easily with the Sheriff, and you're almost going to throw away this second round for free. If you buy up here as a team, you pretty much get to shut down and lock the enemy in. And even if they force buy, if you buy the better weapons, you're going to be able to buy all your abilities, your weapon plus your armor, and they might be able to barely afford a weapon and no armor or no abilities if they want to force up to it. So that could be a way that the risk for them is really, really bad if you do buy. So ultimately here, I think it does work out for you because you have a downed person, and it's fine in order to save because you're not confident that you're going to win this. But I still think that in general, you should be buying up and you should be 100% securing that second round, even if it makes you worse for the third round. Getting those 2 rounds in a row is such a stack on economy, and you are much better off winning that third round with things like Spectres than you are this second round with something like a Sheriff. Let's see how you take this duel. You're gonna challenge long with a Sheriff. I mean, you have a pretty far effective range. I do like you taking a few shots and backing off here. That's good. Using your abilities. Good stuff. So you did see a turret here that detected your sage. So you know that there's presence on this side of the map. So you have to be a little bit careful because you and the Silva are only focusing here when there's presence on the other side as well. Something to keep in mind. Yeah, see, like, you are not looking behind you. Like, you could get shot in the freaking back at any point here. You do not know that there's no enemies. Nice. Nice shot. Nice shot. Good aim. Sick shit. That's some gold aim right there, baby. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Enemies coming from the other direction. E. Unfortunate. I mean, yeah, y'all really got, like, outclassed in the guns. It looks like one of them forced bot up to the Spectre. They had an advantage in a person. Your teammate came back, but, you know, y'all buy real weapons there. Y'all still probably win the 4v5. That being said, it's fine because now you can buy real weapons with your teammate back. So I know I'm not giving a definitive answer here because there is no definitive answer when you have a lever. I know that's like kind of an instruction. It's not normally supposed to happen. And this round, you're probably going to win because now you have real weapons. You can expect the enemies to rock with some amount of weapons plus Spectres, but you should still have a slight advantage against the enemy team. Nice kill. Nice ranged shot. Okay, real quickly, I wanted to talk about your use with this weapon. Just picking this weapon in general. Picking the Vandal. And I know the Vandal and Phantom is an ongoing debate. A lot of people prefer the Vandal. And I'm not going to say don't use the Vandal, okay? I know a lot of people love the Vandal, and there are pros to using it. I will say that specifically with VIPER, there is a lot of benefits to using the Phantom. You got to understand that you are a character that plays in and around smokes. So the trace around, being able to see where bullets are coming from, is something that is very, very important. If you're spraying through your own smokes, it is really important that enemies on the other side of that smoke can't see where the bullets are coming from. So that's something that kind of puts the Phantom a little bit even above the Vandal for specifically VIPER. And then on top of that, when you're playing in your VIPER's pit, having a higher rate of fire with a larger magazine is going to be better where you have opponents that, because they're in your toxic pit, any amount of bullets flying their way is going to kill them. So that's another mark in your favor. So that's why I say with specifically a character like VIPER, the Phantom is almost always better. That doesn't mean that on certain maps, in certain engagements like that engagement went very cleanly with the Vandal. Doesn't mean you can't choose it and use it. I'm just saying, think twice a little bit and think about how the weapon lines up with your character. It will help you better decide which weapon to use. So now you smoked off that. You hear that person running through, and then you're challenging here. The problem here is the enemy. This enemy knows this enemy is looking at you, and this enemy is going to look at you. I think this enemy is about to chase you. Yeah, so let's look right here while you hold this crosshair. I think that this is a little bit too close to the wall right here. You see where this crosshair is? Of course, we don't know what direction he's going to swing, but if you held it a little bit further out, it would be a nice center point. Maybe not that far out, but just a little bit further. It gives you a little bit of an easier shot if they swing out wide. And sure, you could say, hey, he could just peek right here, right? Which is 100% true. He could peek close wall, but the way you put the crosshair here, it makes it so if he swings wide, you're at a disadvantage, and if he swings close, you're at an advantage. If you put your crosshair a little bit closer to the middle, you're a little bit better off here. Now, on top of that, though, I really think that fighting this Reyna is probably better. Fighting, swinging this way and fighting this person. You're protected from this wall, and you get to challenge this Reyna, and then you get to back off. I think it's a little bit better than trying to fight this person from a very far range, because if you fight this person, even if you win, you're probably going to die to the Reyna. And it's just a little bit of a harder all-in duel, because you're basically in a situation where if you don't hit this shot, you're dead no matter what. And I don't think that's the best situation, where you could potentially challenge this Reyna and then run away if you miss, you spray a burst at her, whatever. But you end up dying here. Man just got full blinded. Nice kills. Oh, yeah, there's 2 mines right there. They got to clear that off. So that's something else is, if you notice it, you should call it, but especially when you're up against characters like Last Alive that have some sort of destructible, like Cypher, Killjoy, it is really important that you're actively looking for it, right? They should have cleared this. They should have cleared those, and it would have been a really easy clear. They could have shot them both. Maybe Killjoy could have launched one, but they could have destroyed the other. Regardless, they really should have, and they don't. And it pops off. They leave the site here. They get... Oh, God. Wait. No. Oh, no. Oh. God damn it. You guys... Oh, man. No, they didn't know. They're obviously, watching some pro guides instead of GameLeap, so that's why. All joking aside, damn, the thing that makes this so bad, right, is this jet tries to stick it here and actually dies. And if we look at the actual spike right here, time, you could still be on it right now. You could still be on it right now, and you would still defuse. Like, there was ample time, and instead, they're like, oh my God, it's gonna explode. Let's stick it. And it's so sad seeing from a jet that before she was like aiming really well, and then she just like turns off the brain. Let's stick it. What in the hell is this buy right here? What am I looking at? You got a Sage that's buying a Reyna that is buying a Spectre, and she could buy a rifle. You're buying a Sheriff? What the hell is happening here? What is this buy? Let me see if this is the actual buy we go with. Huh? What in the fuck? What is this? What is this buy? So it's really important that you buy or save. You don't do these split the difference things. Now, it's okay to buy if you can buy again next, right? And it's also good, even if you can't buy like the best weapon, to buy with your team. But this is the worst split the difference I've ever seen. Like, you have your top frag, Sage, buying with armor. You got your Sova buying back down to 0 as well. Your Reyna's buying, she could buy a better weapon, but instead she's just, she could buy a freaking rifle. And like, imagine if your Reyna buys a rifle here, your Jet buys something better. I mean, you could force here realistically, or you could all save. But you buying a freaking Sheriff here is absolutely terrible. Yeah, I mean, your Jet should probably buy. Maybe she's planning on trying to play for an orb. Realistically, she could try to secure an orb with an ally. But yeah, this is just, this buy is atrocious. There's no lineup here. You're probably going to die for free unless you're a freaking god. Oh, wait, do you buy last second? Nope. No, you don't. I don't know. And see, like, challenging out here, like, I did talk about how I like challenging, right? Let me take a sip of Monster. Not a sponsor. I like challenging, but it's better to challenge out here when you're using utility. And I know you don't have aggressive utility. That's why it's better for like a character like Breach, a character like Reyna, someone with a flash to come with you. And challenging out this alone without those things, I think is probably not worth it. You're taking a straight up head-to-head with an enemy that could have rifles. So it would probably be better for you to play more passive and try to catch people off, you know, during their rotation to point. That's when you try to catch people, when they're not looking at you and challenging you directly. Because while this could be okay, I think that it's just so much better if you're playing with a teammate, and challenging this out together with 2 or 3 people rather than doing it yourself, because you could just easily die for free here. Now, I don't mind after you clear this to lurk here. I think that this is actually pretty good, especially because the enemy is going A. It's going to be hard for you to use your wall, though, here without alerting the enemy team that you're here. So I'm wondering how you're going to do that. You get some information. You're probably not... I would probably not use your wall at all and just wait and try to get a kill here, but the timing is kind of all off a little bit. Oh! Good shit. Free upgrade. Let's go. All right. Okay. I stand corrected. Not bad. You know an enemy's up there? Yeah, a little bit off on the throw, but I understand the attempt. This is really interesting here. That is really interesting here because you have time to wait this out. You don't have to engage here. It would have been close. I can understand why you try to really push this. Your own smoke here kind of screws you. Not gonna lie. Yeah, this is really bad because your Sova, I don't even know what's happening. Your Sova is leaving to challenge the enemy that is outside of the circle. You are alone challenging this Killjoy. Yeah, this is just kind of a mess. He gets to say. Like, yeah, like imagine if y'all like instead just waited here and then pushed it together. Because the thing is, you can force that Killjoy down if you just put pressure on Spike. And that's probably what you should do to retake here is let the Killjoy ultimate go off. If this Yoru is playing off point, fight him off point, and then go push in, press Spike, force that Killjoy to drop to contest Spike, force her to take a fight with y'all. That's probably the best way to do things rather than jumping up in your smoke at a Killjoy. You don't have no idea where she's at, and you know she just kills you for free. So huh? What in the what the fuck is that? So he hears him running, gets off with the knife out, slings out. This is so important. This is so important that you need to understand. If you are on the Spike and the enemy is afraid of you defusing, they are going to directly peek said Spike, right? Because if you're just sticking it, they need to be able to kill you. So with that in mind, if the Sova gets off the Spike and backs up a little bit, the Killjoy is going to come flipping around the corner looking at Spike. That's where her crosser placement is going to be. And you're going to have a key moment to kill her. You could do something crazy like, you know, jump down and chase. Like if he jumped off this and looked that way, he could maybe drop on her and try to get the kill when she's not looking at him. But it's just important that this Sova was not ready with his gun. And it's almost like he didn't know where this freaking Killjoy is going to be at all. Like, he hears her. She's going to peek the Spike. So you know where she's going to be. 100%. Yeah. Because, you know, I don't even know what he's looking at here. Like, I don't know what's going on. Oh, God. And then now, you know, she's here. He's flicking right. Where are you looking, bro? Unlucky. Let's just chop it up to unlucky. So this is probably fine for this rank, but just keep in mind that that little bit of fire is not enough reason to just leave. A lurker could easily just do that alone. People could rotate. One person could poke from here. And that's often what happens is like, you know, there'll be like 2 on this side, like 2 here, and then like 1 lurking here. What this lurking one does like right here is like, let's say y'all both rotate through. This lurking one can flank y'all through mid. and then these both can like execute on the point at the same time. There's just a lot of like possibilities. Or this person right here can put tons of fire, and then these guys lurk off, and the second they lurk off, they hit the point. So, you know, there's a lot of situations where this is too early of a rotation. Who knows? The enemy could just full commit here, but it's not enough to get you to rotate. It shouldn't be. Especially when the goal is to play for retake. Like, it's okay if the enemy take a fast hit here and you rotate late. That's fine. The only thing that you want to make sure is that you didn't just leave, and then by the time you're back, they're already on point. You didn't get any chance to, like, take shots during their transition. That's the only thing that you don't want to have happen, most of all. A little bit low crosser placement. All right, you're rising it up. That's good. Oh, turn on this guy. Kill this guy. Kill him. You better kill his ass. Okay, good. Thank God. I was like, you had perfect information about where he is. He doesn't know where you are. Should be a free kill. Okay, so let's see what. So right now you're buying a judge. So I kind of don't mind buying a judge when you have your ultimate, because I think it could be a good way to hold down a point. You should really be trying to buy for your economy, and your economy is going to get progressively worse here. Again, I mean, I've talked about economy a lot in this video, and it just really seems like economy's out the fucking window. Like all these rounds, since no one cares. You guys can stack B. I'll ult A main. What do you mean you're gonna ult A main? What if they come dish? Are you just no? Okay. Huh? Bro, wait. What if they come dish? You what? Did you want? You wanted 3B? You said stack. I'm guessing you meant, hey, I want 3B. But then even so, you have one person watching drop and they die, and then, huh? I'm so like, what is this? I don't know. I don't understand. I mean, maybe to me, okay. Not just to me. This is the better way to use your ult on fracture. Wait for the enemy to plant. Use your wall to re-engage and then ult near the spike. That is just a very good way to play it on defense. Ult near the spike to the point where it will cover the spike, then force enemies to come fight in your pit. That is just like a great way to use it. Also, if an enemy is rushing you solo on point, you can ult on point, and now they have to rotate off, or they have to come fight you in your pit. Either way is advantage for you. But preemptively ulting here, not only can enemies just like completely freaking avoid this because you're just ulting A main and they could still go A, but you also might just waste this because they might just hit a completely different point. Like, it's not really well thought out, and I bet it's gonna get no value. I swear, if the enemy like five person push into this, I'm a fucking down. Okay. All right. So while we wait here, how's everyone's day? I swear, if they fucking plant A, they're probably telling A and planting A. Okay, yeah. All right. Oh, broken, bro. Okay. So, you used your ult. You didn't hold A. I don't even think I have to say anything here. I think I pretty much said enough. It's just really important to understand like all the ways in which you individually could have carried this game. Like, there's a lot of ways that you could have had impact, and at the end of the day, anyone from any role can carry a game of Valorant. So regardless of what rank you're in, and it's really important to take responsibility for your own mistakes. Doesn't matter that you had like a 1 in 5. Doesn't matter if you had 3 people that got no kills on your team. There's always more that you could do. There's always more impact you could have, especially when we're talking about all these little errors. And some of these errors, you're going to make them in another game as well, and the future game, and the future game, and the future game. So it can really add up to maybe like multiple games that you actually would have won, but you ended up losing. So again, you're peeking this. Okay. I don't hate it, especially when enemies aren't really fighting you here. Sometimes if you keep challenging the same angle over and over again, people will like get used to it, and they will actually try to develop a plan to counter you. They'll use dart, they'll use flash, they'll paranoia you right off the rip because they get a read for how you're playing it, but the enemy team is not really challenging here. So they're not only not getting a read, but even if they were, I don't think that they would adapt to what you're doing every single time anyways. Yes, so you're kind of walking yourself again in the fishbowl. This is what it looks like called walking in the fishbowl. I do like this position a little bit better. I'm kind of glad you got here because this gives you an opportunity, right? If enemies run onto point, you can shoot them and then run back, right? That's kind of what I'm talking about. But you could also do the same thing like from here, you know, pressure these lanes, or not that lane, this lane right here, and then run away. If you clear out this area. Seems that every time you'll get in a fight, you'll like spray twice and then you'll smoke it off. It's an interesting habit. I'm not entirely sure. I do like this smoke though because it lets you. Ooh, nice. It lets you challenge the other angle. You don't have to worry about this angle for a while. It's very unlikely that an enemy is gonna push through your smoke to challenge you, especially if they're far away. Oh, they plant on the other side. Interesting. Oh man. Did you drop this toxic screen on purpose? Let's actually look at this back. Do you play for retake here? Your Reyna goes a different route than you, which she probably should not have done. She should not have gone a different route than you. It would have been far better for y'all to play together. But now you're in a 1v1. Let's see how you clutch up. So right here. See, yeah, no, dropping the screen here is really bad. You have a lot of gas to work with. Put the burden on the enemy to interact. And what I mean by that is the first thing that you need to find is where the enemy's at, right? Just tap this spike and move. If the enemy sprays, you know where they're from. If the enemy doesn't spray and they push out, you get to shoot them as they run through your wall. Put the pressure on the enemy. Tap the spike. Don't drop it, because what if the enemy, you don't know where the enemy's at. They could be here. They could be right close up. They could be far back over there. And the enemy's going to see you at the same time. So you're putting it in like a true 1v1 for no reason. You have the spike down and you have control of it. Tap that bitch. Make the enemy push through. Then fight them. Force them to engage first. Force them to even panic. They could be thinking, oh shit, they're sticking it. You could do something like this. You could do something like keep the wall up, toxic this, tap the spike, and then back up this way. If the enemy pushes through this smoke, you have an advantage on them. They don't know where you are. Boom. If the enemy runs through that, they're and you're going to hear them. If the enemy just sprays, then you know what direction they're at. There's a lot of different ways to play this rather than dropping your wall and praying that you're going to win the 50-50. Like, now I hope you learned something about how to improve your gameplay. But if you want to VOD review yourself, you got to reach out to me on the GameLeap Discord. So go check it out right now down below. And while you're there, the GameLeap website has in-depth tips, tricks, guides, and everything that you need in order to climb. If you want to improve incredibly fast, you got to go check it out right now down below.